Welcome to the Women Leaders Association podcast, where we believe we go further, faster, and have more fun when we go together. Be sure to tune in each week to hear an empowering message from the world's top women executives, trailblazers, entrepreneurs, and all-around fierce female leaders. I'm your host, Julianne Kirkland, and I will be taking you on a deep dive of each message to equip you with the principles, strategies, and tools you need to start crushing your goals, increasing your impact, creating work-life harmony, and did I mention have more fun? Because when you love what you do it better. The Women Leaders Association is the world's largest women executives association with over 30,000 women in executive and leadership positions who are committed to the development and advancement of women in the corporate arena. If you would like to get involved in a Women Leaders Association chapter, would enjoy daily podcasts, or you desire to become a part of the Women's Mastermind group near you, simply go to womenleaderspodcast.com. Now let's tune in for this incredible message.
On today's episode, hear from Shelley Woodrow. Shelley has an MBA. She's an EOS franchisee, certified EOS implementer, coach at EOS Worldwide, Vistage, and EOS Speakers Bureau, founder of the Marquee Group, LLC. EOS stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System, and Shelley's job is to help EOS clients get what they want from their business and to live their best EOS life, which is defined as doing what they love with the people they love, being compensated appropriately, making a huge difference in the world, with time to pursue their passions. Welcome, Shelley.
So glad she's here. Welcome, Shelley.
Thank you, Julianne. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. We were just chatting because if y'all can tell in my voice, it's not my sexy voice, it's my snot voice. But and Shelley just had COVID last week, and I caught the whatever virus stuff's going on now. So if you're listening and you're sick, have a cup of tea and join us. We will fill your cup.
There you go.
I am so glad you're here. So as many of you know, with the Women Leaders Association, we work with a lot of people in corporate, but we also work with a lot of entrepreneurs. And Shelley, that is your main gig. So tell us a little bit how you got journeyed into this world of entrepreneurship, helping entrepreneurs.
Yeah, well, I guess I was born into an entrepreneurial family. Didn't know that term growing up, but my parents or grandparents rather owned the only grocery store in my little hometown, and my dad owned a deli. And I just think I was raised in that spirit of work hard, own your own business, run your own business, and you'll be successful. And so, yeah, I've taken lots of different routes to get here, but the last 5 years in particular, I've spent helping entrepreneurs get what they want from their businesses by being an entrepreneur and franchisee myself of EOS Worldwide. So I specifically work with entrepreneurial leadership teams, helping them implement a vision, gain traction around that vision, and become healthier as a team so that they get what they want from their business.
Yeah. So when somebody is starting out in that journey, right? Maybe they're leaving corporate, maybe they're coming out of college and they're like, I want to kind of create my own thing. Where do you come in? Like, what is your goal when you say, helping entrepreneurs get what they want? A lot of times they don't know exactly what they want when they're getting started. They're like, so how do you help kind of guide them through that?
Yeah. And that's a lot of them come to me because that's where they are. It's like, I know I want more than I'm getting. I don't know what that is. And so we really start when I and my team work with entrepreneurs, we start at the leadership team level, and we help the leaders get aligned on the answers to 8 very specific questions that help them clarify, what is the vision? Where are we going long term? How are we going to get there? And do we all agree that that's where we want to take this company? And do we all understand and want the same things 3 short years from now, 10 years out, et cetera? And so it's not ever that I find that visionaries or leadership teams don't have a plan or they don't have a vision. What I see is that they don't all agree and see the same company. And so most of the time, if I started to work with an entrepreneurial leadership team and ask 7 people the same question individually, I get a close answer, but slightly different versions of that. So it's about clarifying what that vision is, then how are you going to get there? And then how are you going to be healthy along the way as you do that and grow and trust each other?
Yeah, I've heard this phrase and it's so true that, clarity is kind. Being clear is being kind. And I think that goes in every form of relationship that you have, be it with your spouse, your son, in your workplace, just being clear is very kind. And I love that you said that they're variants. They're all very similar in the kind of the vision of what they're going for, but there is that little variance factor that happens. And so, how do you help that leadership team to really communicate kind of the differences that they're seeing?
Yeah, great question. Well, first and foremost, we encourage and require open and honest communication. So my job in the room with leadership teams is really threefold. I'm their teacher trainer, so I teach them EOS and the tools to how to run their business on it. But more importantly, I'm facilitating and interpreting what's happening in the room so that I can ask them questions to help them get all thoughts and ideas out of their head on the table so that they can really discuss openly and honestly where they want to go. Because a lot of times they find through this process that they aren't aligned.
Yeah.
But they have to figure out how do they get aligned. And in some cases, that means, once there's clarity, you talked about clarity, meaning kindness.
Yeah.
It really is. And in the case of leaders, that they find that clarity together, then they have to decide, do they want to be a part of it? Because now that we're clear, maybe the game that I signed up for when I became a leader on this team has changed. And so do I want to play the new game or do I want to do something else?
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some instances? I'm just like imagining, you being in these rooms, and it probably can get pretty intense, right? When people are vision casting and then they don't agree on in a future and all that stuff. And then they feel like, oh, I'm under attack. And so what are some instances where you've really had to set expectations and allow people to, like, you're really creating safe space, right? You as the leader, as the facilitator, as the interpreter, like you said, you create that safe space to have these conversations in full transparency, which, I mean, let's be real, the world is not that great at being fully transparent and truthful all the time. So how have you kind of navigated in those rooms when they've gotten pretty intense?
Yeah. So as they go along on this journey, they tend to build trust. And so as trust builds, they're more forthcoming, they're more open, they're more willing to be open, honest, and vulnerable with themselves and the people around them. And so that gets us closer to creating that safe space, but it's messy in the middle. And so what happens is, as they discuss, they debate, and they decide, that's when there's sometimes heat. So they don't all agree. It can be very combative. And we do some work with Patrick Lencioni's 5 Dysfunctions pyramid. And one of the things we work on is having healthy conflict versus combat. And so, it's okay to express your ideas and share without it being personal, without it being a battle.
Yeah.
You can have the heat, and the heat happens.
Yeah.
I've seen that in rooms, and it's good when it can get us to a great place and a conclusion or a decision is made.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and it's not at all related, but I just happened to watch this show yesterday on Netflix. It's fat, salt, heat, and something else, acid, are like the 4 main things you have to make a great food, right? In anything. And so when you're talking about the heat and how it's necessary, it just reminded me of that show, because you can create something beautiful with heat being applied to it. And sometimes you need it.
Yeah. I have one company where there are 3 brothers on the leadership team. And one is the visionary, the owner that started the company, and the other 2 are leaders on that team. And in the beginning, and they still have to practice this, when they have that conflict, when they fight, in the room, they have to fight like leaders, not like brothers.
Yeah.
So it's how can we get to the same place but set those the way we do things, set boundaries around that, so that this isn't three brothers punching each other out. These are three leaders on a leadership team that can find common ground and work together.
Yes. Oh, it's so funny. So I have 6 kids total, but 5 of which are boys. And so when you're talking about brothers wrestling, I'm like, oh my gosh, they do. They like throw down. So I can't imagine them going into business together. If they do, I'll call you.
Yes,
So
sure.
how is EOS different? How is the EOS model different?
EOS is a framework that I've fallen in love with because I have been able to see it over 5 years transform companies, but more importantly, transform leadership teams. And it's different in that we have a saying: the answers in the tools within EOS. It is just a simple set of practical tools that creates a framework that helps all people in the business row in one direction. It helps us manage and mobilize human energy to go to achieve that aligned vision and plan. And so it's different in its simplicity. This is not something that you have to be a genius to run your business on. It's just a simple set of tools that causes and creates that alignment, so that you can manifest those things that you want, and you have an action plan and a way to do it together that remains healthy, so that you can have that goal, that end result, that healthy team. You're having fun, you're making more money, you're making more profit at the end of the day, and your business is much easier to manage. So it's just it's the system I know and love, but I'm biased by the results I've seen. I just came off a busy annual season, and my last 11 annuals, which are 2 days a piece, over this last annual season, 7 out of 11 companies just had their best year ever. Wow. So it just, there's magic in the simplicity of the proven system. We've got over 23,000 companies running on EOS around the world right now. So there's something.
Well, there might be a little something to it. It does a pretty good job. So how did you get introduced to EOS? Like what were you like, this is definitely for me. This is what I want.
Yeah, so I was introduced to an entrepreneur running on EOS, and he was also a strategic coach participant. And so he was using strategic coach tools. He was using EOS as his business operating system. And I went over to work with him for a while on a sales project. And so I got to learn these tools firsthand as an end user on an entrepreneurial leadership team, and got to see the tools and disciplines firsthand, and just discovered that, wow, there's so much that can be done with these tools, that had I had these in my past life, running businesses, I would have been far more effective in a lot of different areas had I known about these tools. And so this was about 5.5 years ago. So I went to Detroit in Feb of 19. So I'm coming up on my 5th anniversary with EOS, and just was trained as an implementer and fell in love with the tools and the process. And I've been working with companies ever since. I'm a coach on that EOS worldwide coaching team as well, or leadership team. Just love what I do. So and I love it because it makes a difference.
Yes.
It's making a difference. I can see it transforming lives. I can see the teams that become healthier just have more fun. If you're an entrepreneur, you're going to go at your thing for 5 or 10 years. Why not have some fun and enjoy the people that you work with along the way? So that's what I've seen and experienced, which is why I just tend to gush over you.
You really do. Like your whole posture changes when you start. It's like talking about Christmas. It's entrepreneurial Christmas here, people.
It works. It works if you put in the work. I should say that. And it's very simple, but not easy. So that's the caveat I will share.
And there is such a difference in that. And it's just so important for people to understand that, again, just because it's simple, and that is so beautiful, simplicity is so beautiful, it doesn't mean it's easy, because it still requires your work and your energy and your thought and all of that. but it is simple. And that allows you to get through the process because okay, my next step is, my next step is, my next step is. And I feel like, especially now, society's kind of created this launch your business in a weekend, all those kind of things that are out there, which you can absolutely launch a business in a weekend. Will it be sustainable? Probably not. And so to be able to, follow the system and have the model in place and to work with coaches like you. So to the person listening right now that is a part of a leadership team, is like, oh my gosh, we need this in our company. How do they get in touch with you? How do they adopt EOS?
Yeah, so reach out to me at shelley.woodrow@eosworldwide.com. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, everywhere. So shelley.woodrow@eosworldwide.com. And what we do is to assess whether EOS is a fit or not for a company. We do a complimentary 90-minute meeting. So I would meet with any leadership team that is interested in exploring EOS and what it is and whether or not it's a fit. I can help you with that. So
yeah, I love that. I love that. So talk a little bit about your journey up into EOS and like how you got
well, I had a whole media career that I retired from in 2017, about 27 years in media. And so in that capacity, I ran ad sales for a major cable provider. So I ran these big P&Ls ranging in size from 40 to $80 million. And just as a market leader for this organization, had tons of responsibility and really ran my own market. It was just like it was my business. So that set of skills and experiences really helped me transition into what I do today with EOS and EOS franchising. So gained a lot of good experience over those years. And if anybody in media knows, it's a very hyper competitive landscape. And so if you can do well and thrive in a media world, you tend to be able to
you got
some of those skills. So
other
things.
Yeah, that's great. So, Shelley, what would you tell the person that maybe they're not in that big enough of a business, right, to work with you in EOS, but what would you tell that maybe budding entrepreneur who's just getting started? What would be some advice for them that you have?
Yeah, a couple things. So read Gino Wickman's Leap Entrepreneur. There's an assessment in there that you can take that assesses whether or not you have the skills that you're cut out to be an entrepreneur. So you can start there, read Leap Entrepreneur. The other thing is all of the tools that we use when we work with clients are free and downloadable on the EOS Worldwide website. So you can download tools for free. They're pretty simple to use, so you can use one or all that you can find in there. So start somewhere. I would just say start somewhere, depending on your pain points or the opportunity areas that you see in your business. Just pick some tools. You can also read any one of the 8 books in the EOS Worldwide Traction Library. So Traction is a book called Get a Grip on Your Business. That teaches you how to implement EOS so you can read and do it yourself. We have a lot of self-implementers in the world that are very successful. And then there's How to Be a Great Boss, What the Heck is EOS, and a number of other tools in that war chest that you can use to get started on EOS.
I love that.
You do not have to work with an implementer. We're here when you're ready for it.
I love that. And what would you tell the entrepreneur listening that maybe has been a coach before and is like, well, I want to do what you do, Shelley. Like, what would you tell them?
Oh my gosh. We need implementers, everybody. We need EOS Worldwide implementers. We are growing so quickly that we're going to need a couple thousand over the next, between now and 2030 for sure. So if you are interested in becoming an implementer yourself, I'm a coach for EOS implementers. Reach out to me and I can point you in the right direction on how to get started.
I love that. I love that. Oh, wow. This has been great. So what would be like one last piece of advice that you would give to the person listening who's like, oh my gosh, okay, this is exactly what I need. What would be the one thing that the leader listening, knowing that maybe they want to bring EOS into their leadership team to start, implementing these things. what would be that one thing to kind of help them get over that nervousness that they have of being the one to speak out and say, hey guys, I think it's time that we get some help? What would you tell them?
If you're looking to explore working with an implementer, just know that anybody in the EOS community guarantees their sessions. So you have nothing to lose by spending 90 minutes with an EOS implementer. You will know a couple things at the end of that meeting. You'll know about EOS. The implementer will know about you, where you want to go, and what you want from your business. You'll understand EOS tools better, and you'll know the EOS proven process. That information should give you enough to decide whether EOS and working with an implementer makes sense to you. But the best part of it is that all EOS implementers with EOS Worldwide guarantee their sessions. So if you don't give value, if you decide to start down this path, you book the first session, you do not get value, you don't pay.
Yeah, so that's great. That's great.
It's really, we give EOS away for free. So working with an implementer is a bonus on top of it when you're ready. So I would say, don't be scared of exploring EOS. You won't have any pressure. Just, we have lots of resources and ways to plug into EOS that will get you the help. So my passionate plea is to get help, get the help that you want, because no one will be pressuring you to take action.
Yeah. I love that. And when the session goes great, because obviously y'all are growing, so you know what you're doing, but how would you guide them to now take it back to their team and be like, hey, or is that something that's like, okay, guys, now y'all need to jump on a call with Shelley? Like, how does that part work?
Yeah, no, great question. It's part of the proven process. So I work with leadership teams, and we get the leadership teams aligned and ready to cascade EOS. So when at about 60 days time, they are ready to take their vision and plan, which we've created by then, to the rest of the organization. So we have a whole rollout process for how we do that, how you cascade it down so that everybody in the organization gets to hear your vision, understand it, ask questions around it, internalize it, and hopefully want to be a part of it so that you get everybody in the entire organization rowing in the same direction.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. I remember way back when I had my salon company, and I was working with a salon coach at the time, and we were going to implement new, commission ways to do commissions and things like that. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, I have to go back to my team and be like, okay, guys, this is what's going on. So I love that y'all have thought through all of that, and like, hey, people kind of freak out when you're like, oh, by the way, this is where we're headed. So I love that y'all come alongside and really help them to navigate those waters of change, which people can freak out about.
Yeah. And, the rest of the story is that once the whole organization is running on EOS, the implementer's job is to get you graduation ready if you're working with an implementer within 18 to 24 months. So if you're ready to graduate, that's our job, is we help you run on EOS, work with you as your facilitator, trainer, and coach. And when you've got it, we leave it to you, and our work here is done. So my job is really to work myself out of a job.
But that's also how you know that it's good. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the same thing when I'm working one-on-one coaching somebody. It's like, I don't want to be your coach for the next 12 years. You know what I mean? Like, I'm obviously not doing a good job if we've been together for 15 years. So it's like, no, let's work, let's get through it, let's get you where you need to go. And then, if we need to do sessions every now and then, great. But other than that, like, my job is to help you be sufficient. Yeah. I love that. Awesome. Shelley, thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation.
Yeah, it's been so fun, Julianne. Yeah. Thank you for having me. Nice to meet you. And I love your TED Talk, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. If you are looking to get in touch with Shelley, we'll be sure to put all of her contact into the show notes. And if you are looking to be a part of the Women Leaders Association, go to womenleaderspodcast.com. Bye for now.